Welcome everybody to a fateful game of the Joint the League season number 5. It is a 2-game series as always for the group stage. It is of course Stanga going up against Let's Do It. It's gonna be a really tough game for both because Stanga at the moment they are in the number 1 position, whereas Let's Do It they are the secondary team. And depending on the outcome here, both of those may secure themselves a top 2 position. If Let's Do It win this 2-0, they're going to be tied up with Stanga at 15 and 3. Whereas if Stanga of course win, then Let's Do It may not be in the clear quite yet because Kumba Gaming and Cyclones may still be able to snatch a position away from them. So a lot will hinge on just these 2 games here. But of course, we're HeflaTV, I'm Coucher, and I'm going to be joined by MRP. More rage please, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing wonderfully. It's so nice to hear your soothing voice once again. And shoutouts to chat, Grumpy and DK for welcoming me back in. And yeah, really looking forward to this matchup. As you mentioned, heavy implications in terms of the American Division 2 in the jDL Season 5. So yeah, Stanga looking good in terms of their positioning. Let's Do It a little bit more on the edge in terms of top 2. But both of these teams actually 2-0'd Goomba. Here are before this matchup, so they are looking really impressive thus far, and I certainly think both teams have the potential to take 2-0 against one another. It's going to rely heavily, I think, on the early game with these two, but either way, one thing to note small is that LDI with the full squad at the ready here. Stanga, I think they got one stand-in, Forgotten Fury being stood in for SLHZ, so not sure if he's been playing with them recently, but either way, they're going to open with a Sniper Venge, already heavy physical strat there. A little bit of long-range initiation coming out from LDI with the Clock ES.
Yeah, it's now that the Clockwork does come out, it's pretty nice for Stanga to have that Vengeful Spirit at the ready. If the Sniper gets like hookshotted, cogged in as well, usually guaranteed death for the Sniper there, but suddenly there's a Vengeful Spirit, swap him out of the cogs, or at least that is how it should be going down. Maybe though the Vengeful will get chunked by somebody else entirely, let's say a Storm Spirit, definitely wouldn't be a bad pick either from Let's Do It. Slark could fit the bill, of course. If they do go for the Slark, suddenly maybe a little bit melee heavy as their lineup. But next set of bans, Batrider, but a Meepo banned out. That's sad.
Taking it out this early will leave some options available to LDI here. As you mentioned, they're going to look to get into the face of the Sniper. On paper, Venge is nice to have there, but with the ES to counter-initiate that level 1 swap, I don't know if it'll be able to reliably save this Sniper, so they will have to give the Venge perhaps some space in lane from time to time, get up the extra range on that swap, and then be able to reliably save the Sniper, who obviously a lot is going to be on the back of in this one. They are going to ban out the Storm Spirit, will Stanga, certainly a warranted ban, as you mentioned, would have allowed to supplement the initiation ability from LDI there and make them real scary up against a hero that, of course, does want to sit back in engagements and get off a lot of right clicks, a lot of headshot procs, and a few assassinates here and there. So things looking good thus far. I think for LDI, they've already dealt with what Stanga has to this point, but Stanga going to look to counter up this quick pick-off potential with a very tanky target in the Bristleback.
So that also gives them additional sources of minus armor, of course, now getting the nasal goo and already having that wave of terror anyway from the Vengeful Spirit. Easy Roshan's if they want to go for them, of course. Now Let's Do It, maybe a little bit of a block pick as well as a just counter pick at the same time. Having the Dazzle, definitely lots of bonus armor for their own team. It is definitely easier to use the weave defensively rather than aggressively because let's say you're pushing. You know that you're going to be going into a fight to just preemptively weave up your entire team and then go. It's definitely going to mitigate a lot of damage that Stanga so far otherwise would have because they have almost 0 magical damage. Well, I mean, Assassinate, Shrapnel, they're like decent, but by no means are they devastating.
Yeah, certainly so. I expect probably the max Shadow Wave build here. Shallow Grave is okay in this matchup thus far. It can save you from an Assassinate, which is really nice, but most of what else Stanga has is sustained damage over time with the Bristleback. He's going to be able to chase you down with the Warpath and Nasal Goose, so Shallow Grave probably not going to allow you to get away, but if you're already out of range and you're about to be assassinated, should be a nice play there. But either way, the physical damage is going to be certainly given a lot of attention from both sides here. We are going to see an Invoker ban from LDI, however, so definitely Quaswex pretty nice into the cogs and what LDI has thus far, but would have been interesting to see if Stanga even goes for that, already picking up the Sniper and the Bristleback.
Go Slaughterer. Only way to go. More minus armor. I did see a slaughter, I think it was yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, and unfortunately it was kind of disappointing in the performance of
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
But it's not to say it cannot work out, it just really needs the correct circumstances. At the moment though, just the amount of minus armor coming out from the amplified damage will make Stanga's ability to just blow up more or less anybody with just a few attacks that much more threatening.
Hmm.
But it just probably won't come out. Instead, maybe something like an Ancient Apparition, quite possibly, to try to deal with the Dazzle's heal effects.
Yeah, I mean, Slardar, he's he's got. I feel like he has too many weaknesses. One being that often because you use him as an initiator and a semi carry, he needs to jump in and therefore needs to build a BKB. And with so much physical damage available to both sides, a BKB really isn't going to protect him from too much. He's innately somewhat tanky, but with the sprint that he often has to use to leave engagements, does allow him to take a lot more damage. The quasi mask of madness there. So yeah, Slardar probably not the greatest pick. We see a Lion come out though, fourth phase, and this is a hero that can do a lot of work, especially with Avenge as a roaming combo. And so far, all of his disable up against what LDI has is going to be very nice. Of course, the Grave can maybe save you from a finger, but he's going to be able to bring them pretty low pretty quickly and do a lot of work in lane.
I mean, definitely not a bad pick considering the Fiskastanga. They don't have the heroes that can just really close the distance between the throw ranger.
Yeah.
Maybe Fiskastanga are going to look for, let's say, a safe lane Phantom Assassin, have the Bristleback off lane and Sniper mid lane, something along those lines. Because Phantom Assassin is probably like one of the harder counters to a Throw Ranger, and once he, let's say, gets a BKB, there is nothing that Let's Do It can really do to peel off that Phantom Assassin from the Throw Ranger, apart from maybe Power Cogs, but even then you just Phantom Strike over the Power Cogs and get to the throw anyway.
Yeah, they're going to need some really good positioning if that's the case. Maybe with a nice hook shot from the clock, a very nice Fisher, because obviously it's not going to land, but if it's able to block off that PA would be huge. But either way, definitely Fiskastanga going to look for some initiation of themselves here, as you mentioned. They will be able to protect up the sniper with a lot of what they have, but allowing the Drow to do the same thing that you intend for your sniper to do, especially with the cogs available and the positioning available to the Earthshaker, is going to be very detrimental to their lineup. Bristleback really needs to get in front as well, and Drow going to be able to kite him around pretty effectively with the frost arrows. So yeah, definitely expect some initiation to come out here from Fiskastanga. Axe has been banned out. Bat Rider has been banned out. The Storm, of course, banned by Fiskastanga themselves. There's still a Centaur, but I feel like it makes them a little bit early game oriented if they go for that route. Sniper Bristleback, nothing to shake a stick at, but nothing amazing in the late game either. And actually, we'll see Fiskastanga pick up a Leshrac. So is this a core Leshrac? Must
I
be.
would think so. I think probably out of the so-called support heroes that they have at the moment, Leshrac would
Right.
make the best core. Just because you get the Bloodstone, maybe you get like a BKB afterwards, just pop your ultimate and run through everybody and just look at them die, more or less so. Of
Yeah.
course, gives them a lot more magical damage as well now, so quite possibly like the physical to magical damage ratio is a little bit more balanced now for Fiskastanga. So that in itself is going to be somewhat nice, but it's probably going to be risky. Is this an aggressive try though? Because it would just have triple disables,
Yeah.
and definitely not easy to go up against such a lane.
I mean, Let's Do It doesn't have the best roaming supports to go mid, so I don't feel like the sniper would be punished if they do run aggressive, and the Bristleback does fine in most 1v1 matchups, so that's certainly a possibility. One thing I really worry for Fiskastanga, though, is this makes it a perfect blade mail game for the clockwork. Leshrac very susceptible to that before he picks up a BKB, and I worry a little bit for his damage output there. He's going to take a lot back in his face, but we will see LDI round out the lineup with the Shadow Fiend.
So Shadow Fiend, kind of a flavor of the month hero. Maybe not as much anymore, because more or less a month has passed ever since the DAC, the Dota 2 Asian Championship. But even then, Shadow Fiend definitely picked up rather often, and I have to say,
Yeah.
usually it doesn't get picked up as the fifth hero. It either gets banned or picked a hell of a lot earlier in the draft.
Right.
But definitely does fit in, considering you have a Throw Ranger, you want to give that precision order to as many heroes as you can. But Shadow Fiend also maybe not as mobile, depending on the item build. Maybe gonna be like Yule Scepter Blink Dagger, but then you're not that strong in the actual fights if it's like 5-on-5.
Yeah.
I don't know, I mean, Shadow Fiend is nice for sure. Gives them a little bit of magical damage as well there. But it just makes BKB for Leshrac a better item choice all of a sudden.
Yeah, certainly so. I mean, I still kind of expect that Blink Ewell's build here. Sniper is so susceptible to that early on, but we'll jump into the lineups either way. I'll take this Dire side. Going towards the mid lane for Stanga, we've got Joey picking up the Sniper. In the off lane, we've got SLHZ on his Bristleback, and over towards that defensive try, we're going to have Igmunder on the Lion. Running uphill is going to be Loki Loke, and he's going to get caught with a Fisher and a Battery Assault, but he'll be fine just to back off. Sunderland on the Vengeful Spirit, going to rotate in to protect up his Leshrac.
As for LDI, let's do it. We're gonna have Lisash on the Earthshaker. Saso will be handling the Clockwork, leaving Exotic Tier. Okay then. In the Shadow Fiend. We have Nisha on the Dazzle, and the last is going to be We Are Lost or Supreme on the Drow Ranger there. Of course, as you can expect, starting with the Precision Aura there, skilling that out first. But Earthshaker did block, I think, once maybe the Clockwork's camp there. So just wants to give Clockwork a little bit of XP, or no, he didn't block it. No idea what Earthshaker was doing there. But he did run back home, maybe missed the block by a little bit. But he's running towards the mid lane. I suppose wants to just assist the Shadow Fiend in getting those early Necromastery stacks going.
Yeah, if you get a couple souls for the SF, it's pretty much an easy lane win for him, so should be just fine. They'll do fine in this dual lane bottom. Look for an early point in Poison Touch. Yeah, he's already skilled it up here for the Dazzle, because he has the Precision Aura, he'll be able to harass out SLHZ, who may even go down here. There's Frost Arrows available now. The first one going to go into SLHZ. A couple more right clicks. He's going to try and salve up. He will get the Fog, and he gets around the corner, but already wasting that salve, and he's going to have to back base.
That's just a horrible start. I mean, Clockwork is also somewhat struggling at the moment, but first of all, he has the vision of Ingmundur being there on the Lion, so he always knows when the Lion wants to come in for a Hex or Earthspike, and at least he doesn't have to go all the way home, so his level 2 isn't all that far off. Sunderland did do a nice job, of course, pulling through and keeping the creep equilibrium at a normal position. Definitely not going to be an easy lane for Clockwork, but Bristleback didn't expect him to have such a bad start, really.
Yeah, you're going to need a pause here from LDI, but as we mentioned, with that Precision Aura, just the dual lane of the Dazzle Drow, able to put a lot of harass with that level 1 Poison Touch into the Bristle. And mid lane, meanwhile, going pretty well as well for Exotic Deer. He's got 9 stacks now out of the max 15 at level 1, of course, for the SF. So he'll start to gain an advantage here. Joey currently holding his own with his Wraith Band up. It looks like he's ferrying out just the boots for now.
To be honest, I wouldn't even mind if Stanga kind of focused on shutting down the Clockwork. Yes, they can still roam and try to kill off the Shadow Fiend as well. Definitely have decent enough supports to do so. But I think Clockwork is absolutely crucial in just kind of stopping Stanga. They need the hookshot to land onto the Sniper to just get the kill on him.
Yeah, certainly. So they're going to have a double damage rune denied by the Vengeful Spirit. But ES picks up the bounty, so he'll be having level 2 fairly soon. He's going to go in mid. Joey playing pretty defensively, though. It's just going to be fine. He doesn't have any points in take aim, actually, so we'll need to get pretty close to this creep wave to last hit. But it looks like behind his tower, he'll be pretty safe, and Lisash going to rotate down towards the south.
And the Sniper missing a couple of last hits there. With Sniper's attack animation, if you're maybe not as used to playing Sniper, you can mess up a little bit this bottom lane. Akira, I think at least the Bristleback is also called Akira, because I remember that name just... He's been standing in for so many teams, and every single time it's like, what the hell? How the hell do you pronounce that name? And it's just Akira, but it's going to get slowed down. Poison Touch, Frost Arrows have been there for quite some time. The TPs are coming in, but First Blood thrown anyway, and it is the Drow to pick that one up. They at least need to get the retaliation kill, but oh, Nisha eating his way through, but oh, the creep wave. Just cock blocking the Dazzle there. He's still trying to eat his way through, but at the moment it's just, well, creating a little bit of time, but mostly just wasting his own tangos.
They're willing to take that trade to shut down the Bristleback. They lose a Dazzle, not a big deal. The Drow Ranger survives. They even wasted a TP on the Leshrac as well. Loki Loke on the Leshrac actually canceled that up to continue to find farm under the wave there. So that's a little bit of gold expended his way. So overall, certainly a win. The Leshrac, though, is farming extremely well in his lane. He's got 12 more last hits than Supreme's Drow Ranger. However, Drow does have that First Blood.
It more or less makes up for the difference, to be honest. 10 last hits is just the same as First Blood. Maybe even a little bit more, depending on the slight RNG there. But top lane, Lion does manage to just snatch away the illusion room from Exotic Tier. So Shadow Fiend gonna have to Bottle Crow and well, Earthshaker. he's gonna be that crow for him. Gonna go for the bounty rune bottom and fill up the bottle. But Earthshaker, about 4.5 minutes into the game, still only level 1. Hasn't really reached the XP from any lanes. Hasn't been busy by pulling. It's just the Dazzle's job for now. Of course, Earthshaker, not really all that reliant on levels or farm. Blink would be nice, but you can definitely work without that.
Yeah, and the two supports from Stanga really haven't gotten much done aside from that TP with a cleanup kill bottom lane, and they haven't really pressured the clockwork at all. Sasu almost level 4 now, doing really well, and with a combo like Lion Venge, you really expect at least some aggression to come out. But I mean, they have gotten some pulls done. Their levels are pretty good at this point. The Lion almost level 3 now, and the Vengeful Spirit almost level 3 as well. But I just expected a little bit more early game aggression. However, the Bristleback has recovered and is going to farm up this double stack now, so it doesn't really need too much more help.
It's just the fact that they took the kind of, maybe I wouldn't say gamble or anything, but they were like, we're going to have one support stack up the other camps, so we're not going to be as busy pulling through and denying XP to the Clockwork, but we're going to ensure a little bit of more of a, maybe comeback method for the Bristleback, for example, just comes in with the Cruise Spray to farm up the stacks. Maybe it's going to be Leshrac farming those up once he gets the ultimate. But oh, the Ancients, only double stack of them, but still scouted out, and Akira on the Bristleback, he's just so low on mana. He needs a bottle or something, but only 4 lasted so far. And he's
dive off the tower. Yeah, SLHZ gonna drop here to Supreme. He actually fogs him for a moment, but TP's in from the line are gonna be a little bit too late. Fisher's gonna catch him as well. He's gonna get the Hex off, but the Shadow Wave is gonna be there. Couple more right clicks. They'll give it over to Supreme. Again, double kill going the way of the Drow Ranger. Already 3-0, 6 minutes in.
So, although maybe doesn't have as fancy of a last hit number as the Leshrac does, now with having 3 kills, that definitely makes more than up for it. If it was only the first blood, it would be like, okay, kind of even between the safe laners.
Caught him again.
Oh, but you're kidding me, right?
Gonna be caught out with the Fisher. Unfortunately, the Drow doesn't get in range, and the tower aggro onto Nisha is gonna force him to back as well. But either way, Bristleback shut down Heavenly. And check out mid lane now, 45 last hits to the 31 of Joey. Exotic Deer has widened the gap, picked up his full set of treads as well as his bottle. 6.5 minutes in. Gonna retreat to farm the jungle a bit. Unfortunately for him, it's mud golems, but no stacks prepared for him quite yet.
Some of those, of course, are jungle creeps, but I don't think not too many of those because a net worth difference is also about 500 to 600 there. So definitely looking nice, although he may get ganked. A smoked Lion wanted to come in, but had to back off, and suddenly, well, Akira, he's gonna go down again. Assassinate will get the counter, I think. Yeah, Dazzle does go down to Joey's Sniper. They won't get any more though. Still, just keeping the Bristleback down as much. It's definitely worth the Dazzle dying once again.
Yeah, it's not bad for Stanga that they get some XP on their Sniper, who's now sitting at level 8, but still, SF doing just fine for himself, as is the rest of the lineup of LDI, and I'm really not too afraid about this Leshrac as we get more and more into the game. Drow already has some sustain. Bottom lane Fisher's going to hit onto 2, a couple big right clicks coming up from Supreme is going to bring down Vengeful Spirit. He's going to look to chase down SLHZ. He guesses wrong, however, but Lisash is going to be there guessing right. Enchant Totem, though, just a fraction of a second too late. The Bristleback will make it out for the time being. Meanwhile, SF dies mid.
Am I the only one, by the way, whenever the name Supreme is said, I think about leader after that? is it just me?
Well, I mean, if he destroys this game, top lane, they are going to hex up Sasu. He'll go down. And that is the first time for the Clockwork in this one. Level 5, nice little bounty going the way of the Leshrac and Igmunder.
So they get a really necessary kill there. They really need this Leshrac to kind of pick up the slack. Of course, Sniper getting a... Was it really a solo kill on the Shadow Fiend earlier? It might be. I mean, Sniper is used as a counter against the Shadow Fiend anyway. You cannot really stop him from farming up early on, but as it goes later, as you have more points into the game, you get more range, maxed out Shrapnel and just Assassinate. It ain't all that hard either to kill Shadow Fiend, who is going for the dual scepter by the looks of things. Although Drow, together with the Dazzle now, even without any minus armor.
Could be scouted out. Yeah, the Venge was looking to find a Wave of Terror, but I mean, this has been done for quite a while now, and they have the vision on the cliffs. So easy Roche going the way of LDI, and the Drow Ranger looking really good, topping the net worth right now. Fisher's going to go out, it's going to catch the Venge, and Sunderland, very out of position, will feed a free kill. over to the draw after Roche. Meanwhile, they're going to pincer up on Joey mid lane. He catches one raise. There's a long range frost arrow. It's not going to be there, but the gust will stop Ingmunder, and he'll drop. Assassinate not going to kill off the Shadow Fiend. And Joey hanging around a little bit too long. He's going to catch a Fisher, but he will be able to make it away with the phase boots. However, this tier 1 very vulnerable now to the push, and Nisha going to have to grave up so he doesn't die to the tower.
Not often do you see just a Fisher being lowly leveled making a difference. Had this been a level 5 Earthshaker, this would have been just a kill.
They almost catch out Joey with the Rocket Flare,
yeah.
but he was smart enough to wait outside the fountain. And tier 1 going to go the way of Supreme. 7-4 is your score 10 minutes in, but the gold advantage looking a lot worse than that. Over 4K for LDI, 3K in the way of experience.
Man, isn't even 9K, not worth mentioning. But definitely a nice start for LDI. I mean, if you just tuned into the game and you look like at the kill score, it's like not that bad. But oh no, Akira Fisher block doesn't get the stun or damage from it, but also forced to tank up the Ancients a little bit. Oh, never mind, Ancients! Hero Ancients get the deny. Of course, it's still bad for him to die, but... Oh, Bristleback, how many deaths is that? 4.
Yeah, I mean, he's been shut down heavily, and the support's just not rotating enough. I mean, they did prepare all these stacks, as you mentioned, so that'll help Joey out, but with a Bristleback that pretty much does absolutely nothing at this point, I'm not sure how much a sniper is going to do for you when you have a Clockwork to hook into him, the Fisher from long range, and even the Drow, with that Aegis available for another couple minutes, able to chase him down pretty aggressively.
Things are going to be harder and harder, just because LDI... They have a kind of explosive lineup, but their late game is also extremely solid. I mean, Dazzle there to provide the armor in any stage of the game. Of course, so far is level 7, but that hasn't picked up a point in the weave. Really not that uncommon in all fairness. Just wants to max out the Shadow Grave, get the extra range on it, and of course lower cooldown at the same time. But they're already pressuring it here to Stanga. They really feel like they can't do anything. Lion is almost level 6, but not quite yet. If they do land one kill though, he's gonna be able to get level 6 in mid-fight. And Nisha, come on, get the Hex, get anything Earthspike misses, and... Well, that's gonna be the death of Sandalin. 2 free attacks from Supreme, although Assassinate...
Still available.
Oh, can they get him another time? I think so. Nisha also blocked in Shrapnel to slow him down. Ingmunder, oh god, no! No Lion dies, but everybody else should survive, I think, or will they? Rocket Flare comes out. Loki is low, but will survive and get the kill himself until a hookshot comes and secures the kill on Leshrac. Urn of Shadows helps kill Bristleback, and Joey gets the Requiem Souls in the face. 5-man wipe, although... Was it Shrapnel ticks?
Yeah. Yeah, Shrapnel brought him down there, but just great plays all around from LDI. Really knowing the boundaries of their fight. The Drow backing off when she needed to. Sasu coming in to reinitiate, picking off the Leshrac. And, of course, Ingmunder dying a little bit earlier was the full 5-man wipe, as you mentioned. So, really, they had nothing that they could do for Stanga but try and stop this push from LDI. And that for Earthspike missing, big plays from Nisha with that Grave bringing down the Lion, and that cost them a lot.
So LDI snowballing as all hell at the moment. They're gonna have that blade mail you mentioned earlier on as well. The Clockwork is building it. He's only... Does he have it in the courier? Nope. So he's missing about 350 gold there. So not all that far off. And once he gets the blade mail, suddenly... I mean, he doesn't have to worry about too much. Doesn't have to worry about the physical damage or the minus armor, because blade mail gives you a pretty decent amount of it. Top lane though, you're gonna have an Invis Earthshaker. Has the Echo Slam if it's really necessary. Loki does not have that Blast on Fang, so he's not going to lose the charges, but dying, never kind of a good thing. But oh, there's the Echo Slam, Enchant Totem as well. Fisher will come out, but with the Finger of Death, they try to go for the counter kill. I think they're going to have enough Shrapnel there in the back lines. Hookshot lands, and Joey, well, he's trying to escape. Battery Assault making his life miserable, and with the Battery Assault, they secure the kill. Shrapnel does get the Earthshaker, but a 3-for-1 trade.
All of a sudden, Supreme Leader is certainly looking like that 9-0 godlike streak, and the movement from LDI has been absolutely impeccable in this one. Nisha with the Dazzle has been making huge plays. The Earthshaker surviving for way too long there, and overall Stanga just looking outplayed in this early game. 13 minutes in, 17-7 is your score. And the funny thing is, Exotic Deer on this SF has almost been a non-factor, yet he's second overall on the net worth, 2k ahead of the Sniper, and almost that ahead of the Leshrac.
Just does what the Shadow Fiend does best, flash farm. I mean, you have those Shadow Razors, make good use of them. With the help of the Eul Scepter mana regen, you will have plenty of Shadow Razors to throw up before you have to go all the way home, and Now even the blink is finished up. Nisha is gonna get that medallion of courage pretty soon as well, which will of course burst out, or boost up rather, all the physical damage output of LDI there. They're really looking good. Itemization not too shabby either for now. Not going for any so-called throwy items at times, for example.
Right.
And Stanga, I mean, they have a decent-ish lineup. Leshrac maybe wasn't the hero we were expecting, but without them having a blink on the line, they're really lacking the initiation, man. Clockwork as an offlaner, initiation is your expertise, whereas if you're a Bristleback, first of all, you struggle so much, so you're not tanky enough to really randomly run in. But it's not like it's a center who can blink Hoofstomp or like Stampede Hoofstomp, something like that.
Yeah, he's picked up his Vanguard now, which is not bad, but he's sitting at level 8, which is below the 6th position Earthshaker of El Lisage. So, I mean, that's really scary. He will pick up level 9 now, so he'll eclipse the Earthshaker and the Dazzle, but overall, things looking great for LDI. And as you mentioned, I feel like that is the biggest shortcoming of Stanga thus far is the Bristleback.
Just they didn't allow for the Bristleback to get enough. I mean, yes, they had that one TP into the lane where they got the kill on the Dazzle early on, but gave away first blood anyway. And to be honest, that early on, even though they did get the counter kill, just the supports having to have a TP and just kind of, I wouldn't say waste it, but use it. It's still straining them a hell of a lot to get like vision going, maybe their own boots, something along those lines. So they just haven't been able to do enough, and they got picked off so many times. If only Stanga themselves had, let's say, Dazzle and would have been able to run dual lanes, things could have been so much better, but...
Yeah. So Stanga, they're going to look to establish a little bit of defensive vision, but they're really clumping up now, and I worry, what is their recovery mechanic in this one? You mentioned how earlier they allocated a little bit of priority over to stacking extra camps. Those are now all gone. The Ancients is a single stack. Roshan still down for a couple minutes here. Is it just a smoke for a pickoff, or they just farm their own jungle? I mean, the lanes aren't very safe at this point with a Clockwork on the other side.
Yeah, it's just going to come down to, once again, them lacking the initiation at the moment, because usually when you're behind, you at least rely on maybe getting a few pickoffs, but for Stanga's lineup, it's not that easy to accomplish. Maybe they're going to be able to swap somebody in with the Vengeful, but it being a level 1 nether swap, it's really not all that long of a range. Vengeful Spirit's movement speed isn't that spectacular, so may not even get close enough to swap somebody in, or at least not before LDI will be there with just TPs and all of their tier 1 towers being up. TP assistance will come pretty fast. So Stanga, it's definitely going to be hard. Probably the best way might be like wait for LDI to come for a push, then either try to ambush them from the side or just slowly poke at them with shrapnel and the sniper's long range.
Yeah, we did mention that they have a lot of sustained damage. They've got, of course, the Pulse Nova as well as the Quill Sprays and, of course, Shrapnel Spam with the 3 charges there. So high ground defense for them is still pretty good. They don't have the greatest items in order to deal with most of what LDI has, but still no BKBs on the Drow or the SF just yet, so they can't run completely free through things like the Shrapnel and the Goo. So either way, I feel like, yeah, really, as you mentioned, the defense is the only, and the winning a team fight is the only potential for Stanga to come back here. I mean, already in excess of 10K lead generated in terms of net worth by LDI, and as well, almost the same in experience.
So if it's even like remotely close to having that 1K per minute lead, you know things are bad, because usually when it reaches that point is the one of no return. And well, Stanga, they have a reasonable lineup, but Leshrac definitely not the greatest core to have when trying to come back from behind. If you did manage to farm up a BKB, maybe things are going to be a little bit better, but even if you get the BKB, there's still a pretty nice amount of physical damage on LDI as well. Much.
Yeah, I mean, I wanna flame the first item Bloodstone, considering how this game has gone, but you know, my next choice was, as you mentioned, the BKB, and then you think about having a Drow, having a Dazzle, having a Shadow Fiend, and it's like, how much really would BKB do for you here? You're talking about he's sitting on 1300 HP with the Bloodstone available to him. So yeah, I mean, Ghost Scepter's not bad. They're lacking magic in the face, but yeah, even a couple raises, right? Like with the Bloodstone, you get the +7 all stats or whatever from the Ghost Scepter, but without the Bloodstone, even with the Ghost Scepter, he's sitting at like 900 HP and 3 raises.
Do you like Aghanims to get raw stats somewhere and also some usefulness, or?
I feel like that might have been maybe the choice over the Bloodstone. But either way, Hex is going to catch on Supreme. Hook is going to whiff. The Earthspike's going to catch on too, but the Fish are going to be enough to blow up the Lion with a raise. They're going to Cyclone up SLHZ. He's going to get gusted up as well. Cogs will be there. He'll get swapped back, but one last right click going to follow him from Exotic Deer. Double kill going the way of the Shadow Fiend. Easy tier 2 push once they bring the lane up. No buyback on the Bristleback for 30 seconds. Lion down only for 10 at this point, but with the Drow Ranger, they should be able to at least put some significant
Leshrac, blink forward, enchant out as well. Soul Ring has enough for Reckless Slam, not after the Fisher, but there's the use of the Requiem of Souls. He's still alive. Is he gonna lose his Blaststone charges? Maybe so. Enchant Totem. Oh god, Earthshaker. He backed off to just lead the kill to the Shadow Fiend, but with him backing off, they allowed Leshrac to escape. So doesn't lose the Blaststone charges, which is nice, but they still lose a tier 2.
Yeah, they still lose their tier 2 in mid, so it's worth jumping on the Leshrac. They're very heads-up play by Loki Loke, able to TP back, but he's going to build into that BKB we mentioned earlier, and it's certainly warranted now that he has the extra HP from the Bloodstone, but big deal he saves his charges there. Still, don't know if it's going to be nearly enough for Stanga. I feel like they are making the right decision here, though, sacking this last tier 2. They really need to defend with high ground. They are going to go for a smoke play here, though, and we'll look to see if they find something.
It's just, like you said, they probably do need to defend high ground, so this smoke, they themselves, I'm pretty sure they're not confident enough to go for a full 5-on-5 fight. Maybe if they had proper vision of the Earthshaker being in the mid lane, they could go for it, but Rocket Flare is flying out into or over Roche Pit. They, I believe, saw Leshrac there. Ward gets placed by the Earthshaker, so he knows where 2 heroes are. But Roshan is going to respawn in only 35 seconds, and it's a, well, I wouldn't say even a short one, just an average respawn time there.
Yeah.
But it means still that LDI will most likely get themselves an Aegis. I highly doubt Stanga will be able to snatch it from them.
Yeah, the pit fight is better from the Radiant side as well. They've got the Cogs available to them. They got the Requiem. They've got the Echo Slam. They have the Weave, but they're going to Yule's up. One in the bot lane. That's going to be Loki Loke. He's going to be able to get back. Fisher and the Rocket Flare are going to land on 2, though. Chopping them down is Supreme with her bow beyond godlike. And who needs Roshan when you got 2 core, or you got the Leshrac and the Lion down? They're going to go high ground. Weave popped as well, and just jumping up, really not afraid of much. SLH set on the Bristle is farming mid lane.
To be honest, I mean, if I, or when I was coming into this game, I was like, first place against second, it's gonna be awesome! And now, let's do it, they're just completely wrecking face here. Maybe, of course, Stanga, they know that no matter what happens to them, even if they lose, they're gonna be guaranteed a top 2 position by the end of the group stage, so they're gonna get into the Division 1 and 2 playoffs as it is. Maybe that's why they tried to go for a core Leshrac.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, the Dazzle pick cornered them a little bit because they were very physically damage-oriented at that point. So maybe just trying something out new, as you mentioned. We'll see in Game 2. Hook is going to land on a creep bottom lane, so Joey going to get away, but looks like the Bristleback not going to be so lucky. He's going to try and get off as much damage as he can.
Where's your TP, bro? Where's your TP?
Call Eternal Envy and ask him why you need a TP. Either way, Shrapnel's going to bring Sasu pretty low. He'll get healed up, though. He'll be just fine. Swap back from the Venge is going to keep the Sniper safe. But just a clean pick on the Bristle. What else is new in this one? 0-7 on the Bristle for Stanga.
Even Lion has died less this game. Is that the most deaths? Yes, it is. Unfortunately, so in Bristleback, every now and then when you follow Bristleback into the offlane, this is exactly what happens. And
yeah.
It wasn't even like that devastating of a lane. Earthshaker wasn't even close by for most of the time. It was just Poison Touch into Frost Arrows and Bristleback dead.
Yeah, I mean, you see 2 heroes in the lane as a Bristleback, you kind of feel a little bit confident, but with the Precision Aura and the slow from the Poison Touch, it was pretty much easy pickings for Nisha and Supreme. And yeah, not the best game for a Bristleback, but certainly could have done a little bit better. Bottom lane, hook in on to Joey. They're going to cog him up with the Blade Mill. One more raise in the last Battery Assault tick or right click from Sasu, going to bring him down, I should say. They're going to go high ground in the meantime. Fisher going to land on the Bristleback, but they're just going to take it easy here. Aegis BKB up on Supreme's Drow Ranger, and he's going to throw his illusions forward. They're going to be dropped by this Lightning Storm, but the wave going to be kept up with the Shadow Wave, and easy tier 3 going the way of LDI. They're going to perhaps look to back out with their spoils here as they force the buyback from the Sniper. The Assassinate is going to land on Sasu, drops him pretty low. but the sustain is very real from LDI. They're just going to look to reset and go right back up high ground.
It's just the clockwork having the turn of shadow, so many charges at his disposal there as well. Just keeps on going, and well, they're back to the high ground. They're gonna leave Supreme Leader to just do his work. Rax dropping low, but they are gonna back off for now. They're gonna smoke, so they're gonna go in through the bottom lane, get a little sidestep on Stanga, and maybe finish up the game if it goes well enough for them.
Yeah, if they pick off Joey here, that's pretty much all the damage, and they do have the jump forward. Echo Slime's not going to land, actually, or at least the Aftershock won't, but they will use up the line here. Requiem not going to be popped. BKB does get popped. Assassinate will bring down the Earthshaker. It's just a 1-for-1 thus far, but Supreme is going to grab up another kill on the Venge, and with the BKB popped, going to town on the Rax. No backdoor protection at this point. They should be able to bring this down with relative ease.
I mean, if I was Stanga at the moment, I'd most certainly be calling GG by now. But yeah, that's gonna be GG call straight after, just because they got the Blink Evils, blew up the sniper completely. Now Akira gonna be the next to fall. Oh wow, just extremely dominating performance from Let's Do It. Didn't expect this kind of a game. Expected it to be a hell of a lot closer, considering that Stanga are #1 in the group so far. But Let's Do It. People have been saying that they have been on fire recently, and got to believe them after this game.
I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I feel like they had a really good early game, and that's kind of what we spoke of, that that would be really influential towards this one. But I mean, they didn't have any less ability to really wreck in the mid game. I can't say the late game because this only went 22 minutes, but LDI really just better movement all around. They were able to give their heroes off to lanes that needed advantage. They secured one in mid. Joey and the Leshrock really the only two getting any farm, and a core Lesh not going to do much against the SF Drow early on.
Yeah, just really well played. Nice laning, great rotations at the same time. So Let's Do It. They're one step closer to securing themselves a spot for the Division 1 and 2 playoffs. If they win the second game, it's going to be Stanga and LDI, no matter what Goomba or Cyclones do in their next games. Just because if Let's Do It wins, they're going to be at 3 losses. Same for Stanga, and that's already guaranteed to get you to the playoffs. But guys, we're going to head into game number 2's lobby now, so stick around, don't go anywhere.